Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sheen. I am an Oxford and Cambridge graduate, an ex-consultant, a tech entrepreneur, the host of the Dream Girl podcast, and I'm currently living in Dubai. So if you like what you see on this channel, please do consider subscribing. It will mean the world to me and it is absolutely free. I want to start off by saying a huge thank you to my current audience, the new audience, and everyone else who is still coming in. Honestly, I was super excited about season 3 of the podcast. It's been over, 2 years since I did season 1 and season 2, and those were recorded in the UK. The first season was entirely audio, the second season was recorded remotely, and the third season happened in Dubai and in person, recorded in a proper nice studio, and I had the time of my life. And I want to say thank you for appreciating the work that went behind, for supporting me throughout, and for being as excited as I was for the new season of the podcast. And I was overwhelmingly surprised by how well everything went. Firstly, I want to say a huge thank you to all of the guests who very kindly joined us this season, who took the time out to come to the studio, sit down and share their wisdom and their experiences with us. And from this process, I even made such amazing friends, which is incredible. I've learned so much as well along the way from them, so huge thank you. Secondly, thank you to my team, whether it is the people who were on the ground with me recording or the people editing behind the scene. I just want to say a huge thank you, because all of this is the cumulative effort of everyone. So a lot of times people ask me, what makes you keep going? Especially because before season 3, there wasn't that much traction on the podcast. And I always say it's kind of like selfish. It's because I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy learning from them. And these conversations always spark some new ideas or makes me think about something that I never thought about before, or gives me a new perspective on issues and challenges. So I do it for myself, and I do it because I enjoy it. And you know, if the added bonus is that people also enjoy it, then amazing. And I am so glad that all of you are resonating with it. And I cannot wait to bring season 4 to you. So please be super excited. Season 4 is going to be bigger, better, inshallah. But for now, it is time to kind of like do a little recap of what this season represented. We had 10 amazing guests ranging from creators, investors, entrepreneurs, and from all ages, all backgrounds, all ethnicities, and it made me super happy to show the diversity of women, of how much they're achieving and how differently they approach life, but at the same time we have so much in common. So this video is like a highlight reel for season 3 of the podcast. I'm going to go through one main lesson or one main learning that I got from each of my podcast guests. And we'll deep dive into very important facets of your life, such as your career, your relationship, your romantic relationship, friendships, and also going into investments and how to manage your money, how to talk about your money, how to be more confident, and dig deeper into what it means to be a confident woman. What does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to be happy? So join me and let's get started. So episode 1 was with Saba Yussouf. And I think the main learning I got from Saba is the importance of being authentic. And she touched on authenticity in different aspects of her life. She talks about her experience of being on reality TV and how having a camera around the whole time kind of like made her quite conscious of the way she appears while she's eating or the way she's chewing. But even then, she realized that for her, what matters is that she's being true to herself and she's being who she is, rather than trying to fit this mold or like trying to be perfect, whatever perfection means, is just constantly pursuing something that is not real and not possible. So just being your authentic self, even if it's not perfect, nobody is, it just makes life a lot easier and gives you less stress. As an investor, Saba also talks about the importance of being authentic when you are pitching to investors for funding. Whether you're a founder or an entrepreneur, it is very important to stay authentic and to be vulnerable and to be honest about what you want to achieve and who you are. Because a lot of times, and this is not just Saba, this is also from my own personal experience, a lot of times investors are investing in the person and not the idea. So they want to see whether this person has the vision, this person has the ability to learn and make mistakes and learn from that and bounce back and therefore be profitable in the long run. So as a founder, you need to be authentic because they are trying to see who you are as a person. The second episode was with Lamide Elizabeth. With Lamide, we discussed thoroughly the move from having a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Lamide has shared her experience of investing from a very young age and buying her first property when she was very, very young. And then she went on to say how the first time she bought the property, she did not feel good about it. She didn't celebrate it because she was still worried whether this would be enough. And I think a lot of us get trapped into this mindset of, okay, I've done this that I've wanted to do for a long while. I've ticked that in the box now, but what's next? Like, how do I make it bigger? How do I make more money? How do I save more? How do I buy that bigger house? How do I buy a bigger car? And it's true that we need to keep aiming for higher, but that scarcity mindset of thinking that you're always competing for a lack of resources is not the way to be. You have to switch to an abundance mindset. And Lamide shared this beautifully, that for her, the way she softens this feeling of feeling that this is not enough, what she does is remove all the emotion from this and take a calculated risk. And yes, I said calculated, of course, don't go around taking risk willy-nilly. But if you take a calculated risk, you need to be okay with this money being put away for now, knowing that it will attract more money and believing in the fact that this is attracting more money. And for example, thinking of buying a property like putting money away into a bank account. Instead, this time, the money is working for you in the long run. And episode 3 was with my wonderful friend, Jouhayna AlMheiri. So Jouhayna, I think the biggest lesson I learned from her was how to prove yourself in a male-dominated industry or career. And Jouhayna is an air traffic controller, which is typically a male-dominated industry, but she went there and proved herself like a boss. Jouhayna shared her experience of starting work and being the only girl and being, very bubbly, her personality, the way she dressed and everything, and how she did not worry about being different and standing out, but she still believed in being herself and proving herself through her work. And she also talks about the importance of identifying shyness and imperfections at work in order to be able to be better and to improve yourself, because all of this at the end of the day feeds into how confident you are and therefore how you feel in the workplace. Especially as a woman, if you are one of the only women there, it is very important to feel confident in yourself, and to do that, you need to be good at what you do and feel like you have the support to do whatever you need to do. And Jouhayna talked about how she struggled initially with public speaking and how she hired a coach to help her and support her, and she built that confidence over time. And now she's the #1 public speaker out of my friends. And we talked about how confidence is not about, fulfilling what other people expect of you, but doing what you want to do and feeling comfortable with that, because at the end of the day, nobody is judging you, everyone is looking around, right? So focus on building that confidence muscle. Episode 4 was with Lucy Chow, and Lucy so eloquently talked about how we need to improve our relationship with money and talking about money. Lucy and I discussed how it is so rare to hear women talk about how much money they make from their salary, or how much money have they invested in a certain company and therefore how much money did they make when that company exited or something. Women very rarely are comfortable discussing finances, especially when it comes to divulging the numbers. And we talked about how that is important, because especially if you're in the workplace, you might not know that you are being underpaid or that you're not asking for enough and someone else is. And sometimes, I'm not saying always, but sometimes, the companies use that in order to not give you what you deserve because you're not asking. And for you to ask, you need to understand what's the benchmark, right? And which is why it's so important to talk about money and be comfortable talking about money. Otherwise, it's really hard to guess what is the right amount of money. Even as a content creator, what's the right amount of money to ask for a campaign? What's the right amount of money to ask for a salary? What's the right equity to give in exchange of investment? You need to know. And to know, you need to speak to other people so you understand what's going on around. And it is not awkward to talk about money. It is very important for women to start talking about money. Episode 5 was with Aliya Rajah, who is a coach, and she talked to us about how to build that confidence muscle. So Aliya and I discussed a lot of things around confidence and how to build it. It is a muscle. At the end of the day, it's a question of repeated practice, of understanding why you don't feel that confident. And of course, there is this whole conception of fake it until you make it, which is true. If you have to go give a talk on stage and you don't feel that confident, of course you can project confidence even though in the inside you might be sweating, But at the end of the day, what Aliya talked about is how important it is for the experience itself to be nice, right? You don't want to be stressing for a whole week before you have the talk, and then during the talk you're not enjoying it, you just want it to get over with. Then this is not the right approach to anything in life, right? You want to enjoy the experience, which is why it's important to work on that confidence muscle so that it enables you to enjoy life's experiences better. But at the end of the day, confidence is definitely something that comes with practice. And it depends which type of confidence are you looking for, if it's in terms of, speaking up at work, if it is presentation, if it is being on stage. You need to find the help that you need and understand why for you don't feel that confident about it. And the number one step is to always know your stuff really well. Whatever you're talking about, it will give you confidence, and you also get a little bit submerged into the content, so much so that you then stop worrying about what people are saying, what people can see, etc. And then the second thing is to understand that there is the spotlight effect, where nobody really, cares about what you're saying and what you look like. Everyone is so concerned about themselves that nobody is thinking about the things that you are thinking about yourself. So just go and enjoy it. Episode 6 was with Latifa bin Haider, and she talked to us about her experience of being a young female entrepreneur. She said that she has a lot of times faced very disappointed faces because when she saw her and her age, they would think that she is not ready to be an entrepreneur. But she powered through, and she talked about how it is so important to celebrate the small wins, because this journey is hard, it's difficult, it's full of challenges. And if you're just going to wait for the big final thing to happen and then to be happy and celebrate, you're going to be miserable throughout. So it is very important to celebrate the small wins along the way so that it gives you motivation, it reminds you of your purpose, and it keeps you going, and it also keeps the morale high of the whole team, right? But she also shared her experiences of having constructive feedback and how you approach that. No one wants to hear feedback that is not positive, but constructive feedback when you're a young founder or a founder in general and you're pitching for investment, it is very important to take constructive feedback and apply it. You need to be able to listen, detach your emotions, detach your self-worth from it. It is just about the product or the idea. And when you're getting constructive feedback, understand what it is, go back to your drawing desk and think about it and implement it. And this is how she did it. After every time she got rejected, she took the constructive feedback and she built something incredible, which is Baituki. So please check it out. Episode 7 was with Nikita Phulwani, and Nikita talked to us about companionship and friendship. And I think it is very important to realize this, that as you grow older, you realize that you don't need a huge group of friends. You just need a few people in your life that are reliable, that you can depend on, and that are truly, truly cheering for you constantly and are there for you for the good and the bad days. And we also discussed how nowadays a lot of women seem to be in their early 30s and complaining about not being able to find a companion or worrying that they have missed their chance or anything. And I think it was a very refreshing take on the fact that there is no bus to miss. And things happen at their own pace for everybody. Not everyone has the same journey. And honestly, early 30s is not old in any definition of the term. And people are so focused on building their career and themselves in their 20s that it is normal to not have the time or, the mental bandwidth to accommodate for finding a partner unless they come along the way. So don't worry about it. It is very normal. All of us are going through it, and it has nothing negative about it. So episode 8 was with Ashi Karun, and Ashi talked to us about taking an unconventional path and how to do so boldly. So Ashi has a very interesting path, as you can watch in the episode, and she talked to us about how for her it came from pushing herself and being bold, and she loves networking. She would just go out there and talk to any stranger and ask them about any advice, and she built her network that way. But she also really highlighted the importance of how everything starts in your brain, right? Everything starts with your mind. If you put it into your mind that you want to do this, you're going to be ruthless and dedicated to this one thing that you really want to do. And this is how you can be consistent and how you can accomplish whatever task you've set your mind to. But also to be careful of other people around you who will try to tell you that this is not the right thing to do and maybe this is a bad idea. Of course, some people are there to help you. Think very critically of any situation, of course, but majority of people who have not walked in your shoes should not be telling you how to tie them, right? So you should know who you take advice from, who you listen to, and who you share your passion and ideas with. And remember, consistency beats talent every day, right? A talented person can go very far, but if they're not consistent, nothing happens. The most talented person will not go very far in life if they're not consistent and doesn't have a consistent work ethic, right? But a very consistent person who is not very talented will unlock numerous opportunities. And episode 9 was with Nischa. So Nischa and I talked a lot about what does it mean to find your passion. We started the conversation by talking about how hard it is to know what your passion is when you're unhappy with something. How do you find out what would make you happy? And then we talked about how the first step is self-awareness. You need to understand yourself, what you care about, what matters to you, and what are you good at, and what would make you happy, what are your non-negotiables. And all of that you need to understand about yourself before you understand what your passion is. And of course, Nischa talked about the importance of saying yes to opportunities that are high visibility. Even if you feel like you're not ready, just say yes and try it, because that's how you learn. By being bold, that's how you learn. Even if you make mistakes along the way, that's how you learn and progress. And finally, the last episode was with Tracy Harmoush. And from Tracy, the one thing I learned is how it is never too late. We talked about how she started her business much later in life, in her 30s, how she got married in her 30s, and how, you know, she discovered herself and her fitness journey in her 30s. So there is literally no rush to figure things out. And your 20s is all for you to discover yourself and, you know, what you want to do in life, what is good and what is bad, what are your values, and then you put all of that into practice in your 30s. So stop stressing out. And also we talked about just generally, I think this is a nice little caveat. I mean, it's not a caveat, but it's an add-on to what I learned from Tracy was, you know, how to deal with hate online and how to deal with hate even in person, in real life, you know, when people say things to you where they don't agree with what you say, or they make nasty comments about the way you look or the way you dress or whatever it is just to know that, you know, who cares? And this is their opinion, they're entitled to it, but it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect who I am as a person, it doesn't affect my value. So it's really important to be that confident in who you are and choosing who you want to be, so that no one has the power to then tell you that this is not the right way to be, you know, because you know that you made a conscious decision, you took a calculated risk, and, you know, you measured the pros and the cons in whatever way you shape your life, because then that confidence makes you bulletproof from whatever anyone else has to say. So here you have it, the 10 wonderful guests we had in season 3 and all of the wonderful learnings we got from them. Please do check out if any one of them popped out and now you want to check out the episodes. You'll find all of them labeled nicely in the podcast playlist. So please go and check them out. You'll also have season 2 on there. Season 1 was just audio, but you can find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And I am super excited for season 4. I already have 5 guests booked in. I'm starting to record in 2 days time, and hopefully in 2 weeks time we're going to go live with the new season. So how super exciting. Please do consider subscribing, leave a comment, let me know what you think, let me know what you want to see more of. If you have any constructive feedback, send them my way. If you have any guests that you want me to interview, let me know. So here we go. Excited to see you in the new season. Until then, please take care. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon. Bye.